Major stocks in Asia closed mixed on the back of official data from China showing that the Chinese economy contracted for the second month in a row in January. The Shanghai Composite gained around 0.35%. The Shenzhen Composite slipped 0.698%. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng gained about 1%. Elsewhere in Asia, Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 1.06%. South Korea's Kospi, however, saw slight losses. In Australia, the ASX 200 slipped 0.37%. And the U.S. stock index futures pointed to a mixed start to trading in the morning after the Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged. At 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures implied a drop of more than 30 points at the open. Futures for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq pointed to a slightly higher open. On Wednesday, the Fed said it will be patient with raising rates moving forward. Meanwhile, investors also monitored weak China data. On Thursday, China's official data showed that manufacturing activity in January contracted for the second consecutive month. And weekly jobless claims and employment cost index are due out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Chicago PMI data are due out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and new home sales data are expected at 10 a.m. And back here on the African continent, the Nairobi Stock Exchange aims to launch a derivatives market in the first half of 2019 after long delays and wants to list at least 2 new firms by the end of the year. Nairobi Securities Exchange, the main entry point for foreigners seeking to invest in East Africa, has worked on plans for a derivatives market for years, but has previously said it was taking longer than expected to set up the infrastructure. Exchange executives have said launching derivatives trading would boost liquidity on the Bourse, which has 65 listed firms. It will become the second exchange in sub-Saharan Africa to take such an initiative after Johannesburg. And as Liberia's President George Weah marks 1 year in office, Liberians are taking stock of his progress so far. The former international soccer star has promised to crack down on endemic corruption and end economic misery for millions of Liberians living in a country that is recovering from years of war and an Ebola outbreak from 2014 to 2016.
Liberia's President George Weah gave his second annual address on Monday, January 28th, in which he highlighted his government's achievements and challenges faced since taking office in January 2018. 1 year into his tenure, Weah still faces hurdles delivering tangible benefits to expectant supporters in the face of a gutted economy and waning donor support.
Liberia's trade deficit stood at $561.8 million United States dollars for the period of January to November 2018. Although this represents a 17.1% improvement as compared to $677.3 million for the same period in 2017. It is important to note that the weak performance of the real economy has for so long been characterized by low export earnings as compared to payment for imports. Though there has been improvement in the trade balance in 2018, the Liberian dollar still remains under pressure. By 2023, we expect the economy to grow by a further 4.7% on account of further expansion in commercial gold production, growth in the agriculture and forestry sector, formation of special economic zones, and other economic reforms envisaged under the proposed agenda for prosperity and development.
Weah inherited an economy that has been hit hard by a 2014 to 2016 Ebola outbreak that killed thousands, as well as low prices for its chief exports, iron ore and rubber. In his State of the Nation address, Weah said there has been slight growth in rubber export and that agriculture was key to the country's growth plans.
To improve external sector of the economy, there is an urgent need to support domestic production, which require a major structural transformation of our economy. In this regard, on the Pro agenda, agriculture has been considered a matter of priority to achieve this structural reform.
Many young people and the poor who supported Ware had high expectations.
When it comes to the rules and all the things they say you have been doing, all that project was but an edit project that he completed. Okay? And some of the things that he promised to do, they have not been done. And he said some things, and that thing have brought problems, especially when it comes to the free education at the university level. He said there should be free education for all government colleges. And then since he made that statement, there have been a crisis in all the various universities around this nation.
We thought when this government took over, we were going to see the country progressing quick in less than 3 months' time. Because the news we're hearing around saying when the government take power, the first 90 days, the US rate will drop. The first 90 days, tin prices will drop, but tin prices going high.
Founded by free American slaves, Liberia is Africa's oldest modern republic, but it has been plagued by years of unrest and bloodshed, including 2 civil wars that were notorious for their brutality and use of child soldiers.
Commodities markets update is next after the break.